This is a moderately interesting one that might just help somebody. The tractor wouldn't start. International 574, and we narrowed it down to the solenoid in the starter, which was clicking and engaging the cogs, and but wasn't letting any juice through to the starter. And we knew this because the starter would spin if you touch the jump lead on to the terminal here. Now, you start stripping it down and you get deeper and deeper and deeper, and you take 4 or 5 nuts and bolts off the end and everything's loose. And then I found that indeed it is the rotten contact terminals in there. They're just green and black and manky and covered in oil and all sorts of things. So I'm going to clean them and put them back in. But the difficulty was in getting the thing apart. Because I undid all those 4 nuts and it wouldn't come off, so I undid the ones at this end and then took the whole solenoid off and it still wouldn't come apart. And then I found that you have to unsolder those 2 terminals. Can we see that? Those 2 terminals on the end of the solenoid to strip it down to access the thing. What a bloody nuisance. Anyway, I've done it, and I thought I'd do a little belated video. Now I've just blasted it all clean with the brake cleaner. I've used brake cleaner because it's the only spray cleaner that I just happen to have to hand, and I actually suspect they're all the same inside. I think they'll all be acetone with 1 or 2 little modifications. Anyway, as you can see now, it's really clean, so I hope it'll work. Now this is the solenoid. These are the 2 wires. It pops back on. Like, difficult to do this single-handed. Anyway, it pops back on like that. The 2 wires poke out of here. Now for anybody else who's doing this, you need to know the thing is only held together with 2 number 3 Phillips screws and those 2 soldered terminals. So when you've undone those, you just lift the cap off. No need to undo all these nuts yet. Anyway, I'm going to solder it back on. I need a soldering iron of at least 75 watts to do this job. No point trying with a little teeny weeny 25 watt thing. Right, it's back together now, so let's see what happens. Indeed, nothing. Well, as so often happens, we found a problem and mended it, and it turned out that it wasn't the problem that was causing the problem, because we found another problem. The solenoid's now okay, but the brushes aren't. One of them had come adrift. One of the springs has rotted away, and as you can see, it probably rotted away a long time ago because the brushes are different lengths. So how this starter motor has been starting the tractor, I really don't know. Anyway, the brush carrier is a bit rotten, the springs are rotten, everything's a bit rotten. So I went on eBay and got myself a new brush kit, all the way from China. Now, it's simple enough, apart from these 2 brushes have to be soldered on to the buzz bars. So I've cut the old brush off, and the original ones are welded on, not soldered. So I'm cleaning everything with a file. That's the secret of soldering, is clean, clean, clean. Now I'm going to tin all the parts. You need a fairly powerful soldering iron for this kind of work. A little 25 amp job is going to be no good. A 25 watt job is going to be no good at all. So we get plenty of solder right into the copper of that, and it'll take a minute or two for the heat to run through into this copper bar. Well, this is a 75 watt soldering iron, and it is only just strong enough to do the job. If I could be bothered, I would have gone and plugged something else in. But let's see. Let's see how strong it is. I can pick the motor up by the soldered joint, so it must be strong enough. I'm not going to bother doing the other one because it's so little wear that I might as well put the spare one in the drawer for another day. Then there are a pair of semicircular carbon thrust rings which should be spring loaded, but the springs have long since rusted away, that locate on those two lugs, but they should be fitted into the end cap before the end cap is put on the motor. Now, I'm not going to put those thrust rings back in because I don't have any springs and I want to use the tractor today. It will work without them. There are also two washers that can go on there, but again, I'm not putting them back in because the motor will work without them. Now, there's a ridiculous rubber waterproofing ring that needs to go back on the end cap. I would do without it if I could, because there's no waterproofing at the other end of the motor. So exactly what point it serves, I don't know. And this starter motor had been full of water, so the only thing it seems to do to me is keep any unwanted water in. Fasten the end cap back on with the appropriate screws and fix the brush carrier in with the screws supplied. And I've put a couple of penny washers on them, and then see if I can get one of those carbon thrust washers from somewhere to complete the job. But it will work as it is. And hello, I've got some helpers. Now let's see what happens. Have we got a piece of wire? No. Oh well, just use this new brush as well. Yes, I think we fixed it.